Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to another Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video. And I got to thinking about something today that came up in a live stream not too long ago. And at first I thought it wasn't a big deal. They may do it in Season 8 just for a little fan service. But I got to thinking there could be some good parallels there. And it may be a scene we could see that actually moves the story forward. And that would be, will Drogon and Ghost finally meet? Alright, so I know this seems like an overly simplified question. More than likely we would see Ghost and Drogon meet since Dany and Jon are heading to Winterfell right now, and Ghost was cut out of Season 7. He is at Winterfell still watching over Sansa. So you're probably saying, of course they'll meet. Or the other half is probably saying, well, they'll probably cut it out due to CGI reasons. But first off, on the CGI issue, I don't want to hear any excuses about Game of Thrones Season 8 not having enough money to include Ghost in this damn story. They are going all out on this final season, so I do believe we will see Ghost this year for sure, but I think it could be a rather important scene. First off, there is a possibility it could be a quick little scene where Ghost meets Drogon, they growl at each other for a bit, but they would probably get along at some point because Jon and Dany do, and they are direct extensions of Jon and Dany themselves. So they could certainly do a little bit of fan service, put in a 2-second scene where they meet, and that's about it. But I'm thinking there could be a little bit more here. So again, as I just mentioned, Drogon is a direct extension of Dany, just as Ghost is a direct extension of Jon. But this also could serve to move the story forward because it would be a parallel for when Jon met Drogon. So Jon meets Drogon, and of course Drogon likes Jon because he can sense his Valyrian blood. But the same can't be said for Dany meeting Ghost. She is not a Stark, so Ghost would not necessarily sense anything in her in order for him to like him or take to her immediately. Dany and Jon have both had parallels all throughout Game of Thrones in every single season, since Jon is obviously a Targaryen and now that has been revealed to us. And Dany would be in awe of Ghost, I would think, because she does talk about how dragons are magical creatures, and she is in awe, they're her children, etc. And direwolves are kind of the same thing up in the north. They're considered very rare magical creatures beyond the wall, and of course, as we learned in Season 1, this is the first time a direwolf has been seen below the wall in 1,000 years. So I do think in that general sense that Ghost would take to Dany pretty well and probably protect her because it's an extension of Jon. Ghost would sense that Jon really loves her, and I think Ghost would obviously protect anything that Jon loves. But going back to the previous point really quickly, Drogon liked Jon, of course, because he did have Valyrian blood. He could sense that. He knows he is a dragon as well. But Ghost wouldn't have anything magical to sense off of Dany, unless, of course, she is actually carrying a baby Stark in her womb. So we all know there's been a lot of foreshadowing that Dany will be pregnant in Season 8, and there will be a child or perhaps children at some point. Whether or not we actually see them born in Season 8 as like an epilogue type thing, we don't know. But the point being here, with all the foreshadowing we saw and heard throughout all the seasons about Dany becoming pregnant with Jon's child, Ghost could actually be the first to sense that on screen, and that's why Ghost would take to Dany immediately and start protecting her, and we might actually see that, and would likely give us our first clue and confirm that Dany is in fact pregnant by Ghost protecting her. Now, of course, Ghost actually liking Dany could also give validation to the Starks and the rest of the Northern Lords, because they do have trepidations about Targaryens, obviously. Jon Royce, of course, said Targaryens can't be trusted, and I can't wait to see the look on their face when they find out that the guy they elected King in the North, who is now the Warden of the North under Dany, is a Targaryen. So in short, yes, I do think we will see Ghost and Drogon meet. It will be a good parallel between Jon and Dany since they are direct extensions of those characters, and I do think we will specifically see Dany meeting Ghost, just like we saw Jon meeting Drogon, as a sort of a parallel as well, and Ghost could give us our first visual confirmation that Dany is in fact pregnant. So again, I do believe they will meet. I do believe there will be a little bit of tension at first. Obviously, Drogon and Ghost may not just buddy up immediately, but with their respective owners right there, obviously in love, I think they will sense that in some way and eventually get along, and that's kind of going to parallel when Jon and Dany met for the first time on Dragonstone last year. When Jon pulled up and first walked into the throne room, there was a lot of tension there as he tried to get the attention of Dany about the true threat in the north. Her attention was totally on the Iron Throne at the time. And then, of course, throughout the season, she started to have her eyes open about the true threat. And, of course, Jon and Dany both fell in love with each other, so I think that would also be a parallel there. So I think this meeting could actually move the story forward. So I think this meeting between Ghost and Drogon, and specifically Ghost and Dany, could actually move the story forward as opposed to just being fan service. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Will Drogon and Ghost finally meet in Game of Thrones Season 8? I think the obvious answer is probably yes, but I think there could be a little more meaning to it than just showing us both on the screen at the same time. As usual, thank you for all the support, especially you guys on Patreon, and a huge shout out to my executive Patreon SmokeScreen producers, Lala Gig, Marylin Bentley, Doc Holliday, Goska, HoonJive, Lo Horton, Erin Habig, John Carey, Anastasia, Jason Landers, DTizSmith, MJW, Carole Brown, D Brown, Mike Colton, Lisa Phillips, Alfred Borstmayer, Greene, and Ricky Corotte. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the support, and I really appreciate the support out there on YouTube as well. If you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like and a share, and be sure to subscribe to get everything, and click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.